Right now on Amplified, the Engineers Journal podcast, we're about to meet the CEO of Winthrop Engineering, Anne Dooley.
There's a physical world that we inhabit, and there's a framework, and there's calculations and details that are required. You have to have a knowledge of how things function and how things are delivered, and there's a preciseness about it. But there's also, an attitude of mind, a curiosity, a willingness to learn as you go past that technical training. When people come as far as us, they're learning inside the environment and they have that technical qualification.
Hello there, my name is Dusty Rhodes and you're welcome to Amplified, the Engineers Journal podcast, where we speak with leading members of our community of creative professionals about how engineers are delivering interesting and sustainable solutions for society. Joining us today is the CEO of a company who since 1995 has gone from being a fairly traditional Irish MEP business to becoming one of the leading data centre developers across Europe. Currently they're working in around 9 European countries and some of the biggest names in the business are counted as their clients. The company employs around 750 people and in 2022 they're expecting a turnover to top €1 billion. To share some of the secrets of this success, the lady who has been a director of the company since 1997 is with us now. And I'm delighted to welcome to the podcast the CEO of Winthrop Engineering, Anne Dooley. Anne, how are you?
Great, thanks.
Tell me, how did you get into this engineering business in the first place?
I chose to do engineering in college in 1984 when I finished school. I grew up in the west of Ireland near Tuam in Corofin, and family of 7. My dad was a farmer and there wasn't a lot else to do. So, school education, I'm number 6 of 7. 3 of my older siblings had done engineering and I just, lack of imagination, ticked the same box. And I think if I was to think back, I was reasonably good at maths. I suppose I thought I probably could do it, but it was more, if you think back to life in the 80s, that there was no work here, no employment here, or it felt like a very grim place. And you felt that if you graduated, you had to travel. And engineering was one of those sort of portable degrees. You could go and work anywhere in the world. So that was the thinking.
And would you describe yourself as a kind of a creative person who likes to look at something and solve the problem?
Creative. I think I like to see things done. I like to progress things positive. I like to move forward. I'm easily enough bored. So, I like doing things, delivering, like completed things. There's a great satisfaction in any job where you're creating something, whether it's a design creative or, engineering, what we do now, delivering a project. And there's a real team ethos about it. The teams get bigger as the projects get larger, but still a big team. And, whatever level you're in the group, you bring forward your best talent. So I guess the way coaches and teams work, so I think that's what I find drives me and that's where I get enthusiasm from.
I want to ask you a little bit about that and coaching and teams just a little later. But first tell me about the company, because you specialise in data centres now. That's what you do. But you have a very kind of precise speciality, if you like. What is that?
Okay, so I suppose the company was founded by Barry English in 1995. And he set it up as an MEP subcontractor. So we would specialise in doing mechanical and electrical work in industrial, not industrial, mainly offices. So, not domestics, not particularly, not housing. And then we progressed to do we did hospital work. And hospital work is a great similarity because it's very precise. It's a technical delivery. You learn a lot of good discipline there, how to work and, working around live environments if you're doing hospital extensions or whatever. And we progressed there. So then we got an opportunity in 2015 to work on data centers with an American client, but they wanted a full delivery, not just the MEP. They wanted the building delivered as well, the building work. And we had done some in the previous number of years, a number of data centers where we had provided the full delivery, MEP, CSA, turnkey delivery. Why does that happen sometimes? Because the data center, it's a very technical delivery. The MEP is the lead side of it. And sometimes the building and the other work can be somewhat peripheral, depending on the design of the data center. So data centers are by their very nature, it's all about power and cooling, and you're providing a premises that can provide consistency and continuity of power and cooling at all times. That's the key. And then the building is designed around it. So the MEP and understanding the MEP is very important. So we had done throughout the 2000, we did a number of turnkey data center deliveries. We got an opportunity with an American client, and they were expanding into Europe. They were looking for a partner. They interviewed a few people, a lot of companies larger than us, but they liked our attitude, and they were coming into Europe to develop, and they needed to move fast, and they wanted a partner that can move with them quickly. And that was us, and we're still working with them to this day. We do all their data center builds in Europe. And then off of that, we delivered strongly. They got some big opportunities. They took us along on their opportunities, and we delivered for them. And the data center world is it's a very positive environment in that their projects tend to be a year to 18 months long, fast delivery, and it is all about delivery and all about client focus, because they're looking to, the data centers don't exist. Their demand is driven by all of our iPhones, all of our software as a solution, all the different types of reasons that we all need the cloud and all the rest of it. And we saw during the pandemic how much the cloud was a necessity to our world. So there, and to develop that out there in their businesses, the software companies or the end users, they've got to plan all that out. So they're looking a year or two out what do they think the demand will be. And they need to have certainty of delivery of the physical infrastructure of the data center. And we have to be focused on that. And things happen, things go wrong, something is late. So what we're really good at is reconfiguring our timelines or relooking at our program, rescheduling, resequencing. And because we deliver everything, the building, the civil structural architectural, the MEP, we can move all the pieces around to suit. We're a good deal more nimble. It may be stemmed from our background as on the MEP, but that's a kind of an agileness and a flexibility that we haven't lost. And again, partnering with our clients, understanding what their needs are, appreciating their requirement to have it delivered on time, and doing whatever it takes to try and assist them on that journey. And being creative, thinking about different solutions. We're not people to sit down when something happens and the client has maybe an issue with the delivery of a piece of equipment they're supplying. Our first reaction isn't to sit down and write a letter. Our first reaction is to say, okay, this has happened here. We have to deliver together. Let's figure out how to make it better.
How big a difference does it make, the fact that you are able to oversee everything rather than working only half the project or having to work with several different teams?
Doing the turnkey delivery, and sometimes we also do the design, which is another piece of it. What it does is it means that you can manage all the pieces and you don't have any resistance. If every participant in a team or in a project is trying to deliver their piece as best they can in a certain lane, and that's understandable. But if we're sitting above it and we're managing all the pieces, we can redirect and resequence them, and to see the better solution, rather than saying, well, we're going to go on and finish the building here, and we'll just give you access when it suits us. Whereas we're saying, well, look, we need to deliver here. This is the best sequence of events, and it might not be the most efficient for your little piece, but for the overall piece, it's going to help us deliver. So I think that's what we're good at, and that's what we try and concentrate on.
That efficiency kind of translates into speed. So when you're doing a turnkey data center, one of the things you pride yourselves on is how fast you can go from greenfield to delivery. How fast?
Look, it depends on the size of the project. The timelines that our clients' business needs demand are very strict and they're very tight, but we're also very sensible. We don't commit to dates that we can't deliver on. They're a year to 18 months to deliver the size of the projects that we're delivering is typical. And what we try and do is detailed schedule of all the activities and all the inputs and the outputs, and clearly show something that can be delivered. What we like to do is to get the right time, to get the reliable time. Our clients are not interested in somebody come along and being a hero and suggesting really short timelines that they then can't deliver to their end customers, because that's to nobody's benefit.
One of the things that really speeds things up that I believe you're quite proud of is prefabrication. What can you tell me about that?
The key developments in the industry over the last number of years will be the use of 3D drawings, moving on from there to building information modelling, where you are really detailing out in 3D the project very, very early on, from the very early design stages. So you're picking up all the difficult pieces, picking up all the clashes and all the things that might not work, so your team on site don't have to encounter that, and they can just go to site and build. The prefabrication piece allows you at the very minimal level, doing some basic elements off site, but it'll also allow you prefabricate, say, electrical switch rooms and get them completed in a container and all the component elements tested and delivered. And you can have that happening in tandem while you're building the building. So you can imagine that you can move that prefabricated piece of kit into position. So you're not waiting for the building built and then to start assembling it. And, it's always easier to work in a factory environment if you're doing that kind of technical piece of delivery than working on a greenfield site. And you can't work on the greenfield site until it's been, until it's watertight, until it's, dust free and all the rest of it. So you can work if you're working in a production environment, you get much better delivery.
I'm interested in how the company will describe a lot of the projects that you do as mission critical. Now, anybody in engineering will say that everything they do is mission critical. How do you define mission critical?
I suppose mission critical is what the data is, it describes the data center industry. Really, you know what I mean? That it's critical, it's core, it's 100% uptime piece of it that's required. I think that's what drives the mission critical. I know sometimes people consider maybe some medical institutions are mission critical because they have to have that 100% uptime as well. But we tend to refer to ourselves mainly as turnkey data center infrastructure delivery. That's what we do. And the turnkey nature is a piece that I enjoy particularly because, we have clients where we've done the design for them. So we have the greenfield site, we've done the design, we've applied for the permit, we've taken on the subcontractors that we need to deliver the job, we've managed the team, we've delivered it and we've commissioned it and handed it over. And that's a great delivery. It wasn't there before and now there's a whole thing created that you've been involved in. But the industry is very technical. We employ a lot of engineers across, mechanical, electrical, civil, structural, guys with design experience, guys that want to work in the BIM department. We take on 20 graduates this year on a graduate program. We had, I think, 12 interns in this summer, engineering graduates. And that's, we're happy to take them on either here in Ireland, and we're live in 8 countries in Europe, happen to be doing a good bit of work in Ireland at the moment. But, our business is Dublin based. But we're working throughout Europe. All of our projects are served by our office here. Our projects are live in Germany, in Sweden, in Holland, in Warsaw, in Poland. So we've lots of opportunities for travel to offer people, which I think is interesting.
I think one of the things that Winthrop is proud of is that there's a mix of very experienced people and young talent who are coming into the company. And there seems to be a real ethos of a kind of a mentorship program within the company. Is that true?
Yes, and we've always been like that. We have always taken on a number of graduates, always, have a number of people who work with us who joined us after college and stayed with us. But we're always trying to, incorporate and add members to our team. I have one, we've a very senior design engineer here. And I mean, there's no lack of enthusiasm in his ability and watching the sharing of knowledge with young graduates as they come through, the interest in it. And I think, especially when people first come out of college, they're anxious to see what it is they're going to be to do, what it is they're going to be expected to deliver. And they like the practicality of this industry. I feel for ourselves also, it's such a technical environment that we live in. It's a high-tech industry, high-tech deliverables, and with clients who expect a very, very slick product at the end of it. They expect it to be done and done well. They're great clients to work for, demanding, but that's what they're expecting from their partnership with us.
One of the things that strikes me about the company is that the company is still owned by the directors.
Yes.
And speaking to you, even though you've got 750 employees, you sound like you know every single one of them. Yeah. Do you think kind of owning the company connects you better with the people who are working with you?
I think I've grown with the company. We all have grown with the company. It's grown significantly stronger in the last number of years. But, we don't like the ethos of our, in partnership with our clients, in partnership with our team and our colleagues here. We deliver together. For myself, I think the team ethos of success is the key support for Winthrop that I see. It's our foundation, and delivering together, and vicissitudes arise in whatever form in the course of delivery of a project. But rising above them, dealing with them positively. Openness to engage, learning new things, knowing that you don't always know all the answers yourself, but one of your colleagues might. That kind of learning. That kind of partnership is something that I think we always try to promote. And, we feel that bringing in young and new graduates, people we had some join there a couple of weeks ago, and look, you can see the keenness and the interest they have, and the projects are large, they're exciting to work on, and, you have your piece in them. And I started my own career that way, working on a small piece of a large project. But, you've got to deliver that piece, and then you then you get the confidence and you get the experience and you get the exposure to these large projects.
Learning new things and just constantly learning about what's going on around you is great. But at the same time, if you don't know something and there's somebody above you and you don't want to look stupid, I'm a great believer in the phrase, there's no such thing as a stupid question. How do you feel that, because you're at the top of the tree in the company, would you prefer people to ask those kind of questions, or would you prefer to them to do something else?
Well, I suppose, first of all, I'm not at the top of any tree because we're a very flat structure. I like that. We don't have that kind of atmosphere or feeling within the company. Obviously, the projects have a management team, and there was obviously people in charge and managers in the different levels. And I got asked one day, who's the most important person? And, if you're looking for a project team, who's the most important? On any given day, it's different people. It's safety officers are vitally important, make sure that people go to work safe and come home safe, and help the teams deliver a safe project, make sure that the safety training is inculcated in all the people that arrive onto the site. On another day, it's the mechanical engineer or the civil structural engineer or whatever, it varies. So everybody's important in their own day. QS is quantity surveying. Our back office here is, if you don't have administration, if you don't have finance, nobody gets paid and nobody pays you. Then you've got to also have your purchasing team, putting the purchase orders out there, ordering the equipment, ordering the materials. So, everybody has their part to play in it. The question you asked me was asking questions. Yeah, I'm completely encouraged that there's always new things to be learned. It's we have a number of different clients, and while we're building data centers, delivering data centers for them, every client has different needs, different requirements. So start off with an open engagement. 3-letter acronyms are the bane of every industry. So, when you come along with a new client, they'll have a different one that you haven't heard of. Ask the question, be prepared to look a bit, be prepared to ask the question. I didn't honestly, okay, now that's really obvious. And, I think that, if you don't have that in an organization, you have nothing. You have to have that piece where people are prepared to, admit to what they don't know, go and research it and come back. The answers won't always be, as easily found as that, but, have the interest to go and research them.
Speaking of 3-letter, an acronym, CPT is very important in any organisation. Do you have any kind of a path for continuous professional development? We
certainly do. We have a subcommittee here who've supported it right through the business over the last number of years, and continuing to do so. And we used our CPD team as well to help us a lot when we were designing our recent graduate recruitment program. We were formalising that into a 2-year program, and the CPD team were very instrumental in helping us share the areas there. And we've obviously gotten a lot of advice on that from EI over the years.
Learning and recognition is also a very important part of your career development, and you have won Businesswoman of the Year. How did that change, or why did you get involved in that?
Why did I get involved in that? I'm not sure.
Was it one of those things where somebody entered you and you just had to go for it?
Yeah. And I mean, the diversity agenda in the industry is high. If there could be a bias towards hiring women engineers, there would be. There's a bias towards hiring engineers, full stop. It's trying to find enough of them. I still don't see a lot of women coming through. And I don't think, at the employer level, I think the difficulty is finding talent, full stop, from wherever it comes. I think, we do support EI, particularly do a lot of work at the schools at the lower level to try and encourage people into it. It's certainly from an employer perspective, I think the thing for us is to show the attractiveness of the industry, the data center industry, in terms of the end-to-end construction of the data center, and then on from there, from the operation and the support structures of it, and to feel that there is a continuity and that it's a great industry to work in. I love my job, I love my career here, I love the delivery of it, I like being part of that kind of positive program, and it's constantly as well. If you're at the stage where you're involved in particular projects, it's new teams every year, 18 months, because the project completes and you move on, different, not necessarily a full new team, but you're getting to know new people, and it's very multicultural, which is again another, even in Ireland, and especially as we work throughout Europe, working alongside different people, you learn different things, not just in your work, but just generally, it's good. I think it's good all around, good for people's education and for interest.
I'm guessing you have had a good experience with Engineers Ireland. Can you tell me just one of the useful things that Engineers Ireland has done for you personally?
Um, for me personally, I think there's a recognition for the role of the engineer, and Engineer Ireland, gives that a status and a standing. The professional engineer is a title that is used a lot, and I think Engineers Ireland have really focused on trying to develop that out. And I know a number of years ago, I would have felt they were very focused on the civil, structural, on that side of the world. But I think they've broadened out their communication so that, it's across the full spectrum, and including on the IT side, because that's a huge draw for the engineers of the future. And, I think we want to get people into our side of the industry, but we want to attract people in. And I think Engineers Ireland do a super job on that.
Let me ask you, kind of going back to the day-to-day business of the company, back to data centres, because one of the problems with data centres is they get a bad rap, especially, with sustainability and environment. How are you thinking about that problem now? How do you counter that?
Well, I suppose they're the way we see them is that they're the next utility, so we're not going to put our phones in the bin. We're not going to start driving without Google Maps, or whatever product you want to use. All of that software as a service, we all have, lots of companies are operating Microsoft 365 in the cloud. So all of those things, lots of different deliveries, they all require a utility to store them. That's why the data centers exist. And then, they're designed to be very efficient because the main cost to the operator is the use of power. So they've got a PUE, a power usage, power utilization efficiency calculation, and that's very important in the industry because they're very focused on that, because they're designed to be as energy efficient as possible. For sure, they are new infrastructure, so for sure they're not neutral on the environment. But it's a positive industry with a lot of progressive end user clients who are focused on buying where they can and buying forward on renewable power, which is helping that side of the industry. And also a lot of focus now on, trying to make the circular economy in terms of the carbon, the embedded carbon that's in the industry. And a lot of analysis now is happening on that to see how we can reduce that as we build forward. So I think, as an industry, it's a very developed industry and it's very conscious of its sustainability demands. And again, I see the workforces of the future, they want to see that development and that aspiration within us as a company and within our clients. You know what I mean? And they can see that. They can see that focus on the sustainability piece.
It's a very fast-moving industry and things do change. And like you guys have been on things early. Like you were one of the first to get into BIM.
Yeah.
How do you keep yourself on top of what's happening within your industry now?
We've got a lot of great talent within the company, spread across Ireland and Europe, and we've got a lot of really good talent. We're a Dublin-based company, but we're not by no means exclusively Irish staff. So we have a lot of really good, qualified, experienced engineers, quantity surveyors coming into the company, project managers, bringing with them their knowledge and their experience. And we're happy to invest. We're happy to develop those skills and share them across the company. And what we're very good at is if we if we're on a particular project in say Sweden or something, and we develop something up there that helps the work, a process or a safety procedure, then we'll make sure that we roll it out across all the companies so that we have a similar delivery and we have a consistent delivery for all of our clients across all of our projects.
A lot of the projects you are involved in, it would be fair to describe it as high performance building design, really. Yeah. How do you make sustainability a part of that high performance?
Well, I think there's a lot of measures now coming into the sustainability starts back at the design. It starts back at the location of the projects. We're not always responsible for the design. Very often our clients will design the buildings and then we work with them from there. But I think sustainability is embedded in all of our clients' briefs to their design teams. Whether we're on the design team or not. When we look at the design, when we look at how we're going to develop it, we're looking at the most sustainable solution and the most energy efficient solution on the project, because the clients are interested in the power usage because that's the most expensive part of them, and there's the demands there, so they want to be used as efficiently as possible. And as I said, also there's a lot of a lot of now knowledge coming into the industry, a lot of assessments, and a lot of focus on, managing your carbon footprint or your embedded carbon throughout the life of the project to see if you can try and reduce that.
The world is changing a lot as we go into the mid-20s. We've war, there's supply issues, power, the cost of an economic turndown is the topic of the day. Just from your point of view, what's the biggest challenge that's facing engineering?
Well, I suppose we're a people business. What we do is it's a service industry. So for what we're doing, so we're a management team from project managers, project right down to the supervisory level within the company. So it's all for us. It's developing the talent and attracting the talent and making sure we have the best, so we can deliver the best at all times. So there's a certain type of colleague that we look for that's going to be that. You have to have that positive mindset for delivery, client focused. No matter what level you're coming in at, and the engineering graduates for sure have to have the qualifications, and the technical qualifications is very important. But then after that, it's attitude, and attitude goes an awful long way in any business, as you know. And the support teams that we build around the engineers and the construction teams, again, a positive supporting environment, and that's what we try to develop.
And when you talk about attracting talent, what kind of things do you do to attract?
I suppose we're very quiet as a company. We don't do much advertising. So I'm trying to talking to you here today. It's trying to reach out to the potential graduates of the future to consider our area of operations as a possible graduate career, because we can offer them a good and positive and longevity of a career, consistent careers, offer some travel if they want to do that, or indeed, but also training and mentorship.
Anne Dooley, it's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you for taking the time to join us on the podcast today.
Thank you.
If you would like to find out more about what we spoke about on the podcast today, you'll find show notes and link details in the description area of your podcast player right now. And of course, you'll find more information and advanced episodes on our website at engineersireland.ie. Our Amplified podcast today was produced by dustpod.io for Engineers Journal. If you would like more episodes, do click the follow button on your podcast player so you get access to all our past and future shows automatically. Until next time, from myself, Dusty Rhodes, thank you for listening.